Okay, let's look at solving equations, and this time we're going to put some fractions into a bunch of them. Before we get into those, let's kind of recap some of the stuff we've already learned that we need to know. So let's look at how would I solve 4x plus 5 equals 20. So the way we talked about it yesterday, or last class, is we said we wanted to expand our brackets. So remember, when we expand our brackets, that means multiplying. So we've got 4 times x, which is 4x. And then we've got 4 times 5, which is 20. So I've got a plus 20 equals 20. So we expanded our brackets first, and then we moved the number to the other side. So minus 20. So this was that reverse BEDMAS. So we're left with 4x. The 20 is gone. Equals 20 minus 20. Oh, equals 0. Oh, that's all right. That's allowed. That's allowed. When they're side by side like this is multiplying, so the opposite is divide. So we divide both sides by 4, and we're left with x equals 0. So that's not bad. That's the stuff we did last class. So I'm going to solve that same question, only this time I'm going to do it differently. So same question, but this time, instead of expanding my brackets, I'm going to get rid of the 4 first. So because the 4 is timesing this whole thing here, I can divide everything by 4. So because it's everything, the 4 is going to go away. So I've got x plus 5 equals 20 divided by 4 is 5. So I can do that. That's allowed. Now I move my 5. So plus 5 becomes minus 5 to both sides. X equals 0. So I got the same answer. This one I expanded my brackets. This one I moved the 4 first. And this is the sort of approach we're going to take now that we're going to introduce fractions into our questions. So let's see how that one works. Okay, let's look at this one. So page 205, example 1, it just tells me I want to solve. And solving just means find x. So that just means that my mission is I want to get x equal to a number. So I got to get all those numbers to the other side. All right. Now I could expand my brackets like I did before, but I can see right off the bat that 8 and 3, that 8 doesn't divide by 3. That doesn't work so nicely. So let's instead get rid of this denominator. So this question is the same thing as writing my 8 plus x all over 3. All I've done is just put the denominator underneath. Okay, it's the same thing. This way might be a little bit easier to see that since everything's being divided by 3, to rearrange, I just need to multiply by 3. Okay, so that'll cancel out that one. So 3 times 6 gives me 18 equals 8 plus x. So that's all right. We can do that. Now I just have to move my 8 to the other side. Remember, when there's no no symbol in front, it's a plus. Opposite of plus is minus. So it's minus 8 from both sides. 18 minus 8 gives me 10 equals x. Well done. Okay, let's try B. So here I've got a 3 times y minus 5, all divided by 4, equals 7. So because everything's all divided by 4, let's move that first. Okay, so I'm just going to give myself a bit more space here. So instead of dividing by 4, my opposite would be to times by 4. All right, so we've multiplied this side by 4. Let's multiply both sides by 4. So by doing that, these guys are now gone. So I'm left with 3 bracket y minus 5 on this side equals 7 times 4 gives me 28. Now I can see that I've got 3 times this whole bracket, so I can expand like I did before. I can divide both sides by 3. Either one will work. So let's divide both sides by 3. So that 3 is now gone, so I'm left with y minus 5 equals, well, 28 and 3 don't really divide into each other very nicely, so let's just leave it as that. Now all I have left is to move the 5, so since it's minusing, let's plus 5 to both sides. So that leaves me with y equals 28 over 3 plus, oh dear, 5. I'm just going to write it over 1. And then I'm going to say fraction, I need a common denominator. So let's give this a common denominator. So I've got, finish it up. I've got 28 over 3 plus 5 times 3 gives me 15 over 3. Final answer will give me 28 plus 15 is 43 over 3. So there's my answer. Alright, let's give this one a try. So now we're on to example 2. This is from page 206. Here I now have 2 different fractions, and we're just going to do the same thing we were doing before. I see I have a 3 in the denominator here, so let's multiply both sides by 3. Cancel, cancel. So this side, you've got k plus 2 is left equals k minus 4 over 5. So I'm going to just throw that in brackets. And I'm just going to leave my times 3 out there because I'm not done rearranging things. Now I want to times both sides by 5 to get rid of it. So that'll get rid of that one. Times this side by 5. And remember, it's the whole numerator. And now we can start simplifying. So what do I got? I've got 5 bracket k plus 2 end bracket equals 3 bracket k minus 4. Now I can expand my brackets. So 5 times k gives me 5k. 5 times 2 gives me 10 equals 3 times k gives me 3k minus 3 times 4 gives me 12. Now I can rearrange, start collecting things. So let's get my k's together. So I'm going to minus 3k from both sides. And that gives me 2k plus 10 equals negative 12. Move my 10 to the other side, so let's minus 10 from both sides. So what does that give me? 2k equals negative 22. Almost done. Divide both sides by 2. And you're left with k equals negative 11. So that was a big question, and we did a lot of steps there. We could have condensed some of these steps, but it still works. Let's try one last example here. So now I've got 1/3 times 2x minus 5 equals 3/4 x minus 2. So we're just going to keep doing the same thing we were doing. We're going to get rid of these denominators in our little fractions, and then we can rearrange and solve. So the first one I'm going to do, I like working left to right, you don't have to, is I'm going to get rid of this 3 in the denominator. So I know that it's currently dividing, so let's times both sides by 3. And I can do this because it's the 1/3 times this whole bracket. So I'm allowed to do this. Okay, they cancel off, and I'm left with 2x minus 5 equals 3/4 times x minus 2 times 3. Okay. Let's get rid of this 4 here. So right now it's in the denominator. So let's times everything by 4. So that leaves me with 4 times 2x minus 5 equals 3 times 3 x minus 2. Okay, let's simplify this out. So we're going to expand out our brackets here. 4 times 2 gives me 8x minus 4 times 5 is 20 equals, well, 3 times 3 is 9. So 9 times x is 9x. 9 times negative 2 gives me negative 18. And you could have done that before. You didn't have to have written it like that. We could have just done 3 times 3 there and done 9. That would have worked too. That's fine. Yeah. And then it's 9 times each of those. Perfectly fine. What do we have next? So let's get our things grouped together. So it's minus 9x from both sides. 8 minus 9 gives me a negative x. Minus 20 equals, those guys are gone, negative 18. Move the 20 over to join the 18. So let's plus 20 to both sides because that's the opposite of minusing. And what do we got? Negative x equals 2. And almost done. Let's get rid of that negative. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. x equals -2. Awesome. That's pretty exciting. So to make sure we did this right, let's maybe do a check on this one. So let's check our answer. Okay, so we're going to check, which means we need to check our left side. So remember our left side was originally 1/3 bracket 2x minus 5. And remember we solved for the fact that x is -2. So I'm going to sub that in for x so I can figure out if I did this right or not. So let's see. This equals 1/3 bracket 2 times -2 minus 5. So I have 1/3, 2 times -2 gives me -4 minus 5. So I have 1/3 times -4 minus 5 gives me -9. -9 divided by 3 gives me -3. So there's my left side. Now we need to check our right side. So my right side, I'm not going to have enough space. Okay, my right side is 3/4 bracket x minus 2. And remember, x was -2. At least that's what we solved for. So we're checking to see if it's right. So instead of x, I'm going to write -2 minus 2. So that gives me 3/4 times -2 minus 2 gives me -4. 3 times -4 gives me -12/4. You could have canceled as well. -3. So let's see how that worked out. Yeah. Left side gave me -3. Right side gave me -3. We did it. We got it right. Upside down triangle, since left side equals right side, therefore x is -2.